Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel for another VR, this time to Chance Balanced Tarot, which I love her channel and I love her videos and what she created. And this time she created a hashtag called Balance the Deck Scales. Um, and there are a lot of VRs out there at the moment that are really gorgeous and that I want to do VR too. But as I said in a video before, I'm late to the party all of the times. This time I'm not as late, but as I were to some others, but still not one of the first ones to do these. But there is a lot of things going on in my life, a lot of chaos at the moment. So that's the reason that I'm behind watching all of these videos and also doing them on my own. So balance the deck scales is actually like choosing two decks for each of the five elements, being spirit, fire, water, air, and earth, and choosing two decks that you are connecting to these elements, but that give you a little bit of a different perspective on these elements or a little bit of different energy. Um, and have a little bit of a different character. That's because of the balancing aspect, two sides of the same coin, two sides of the same element. So that is what this hashtag is all about. And I will have a link to the original video created by Chan in the video description down below. So if you haven't seen that, you can hop over easily and look or and watch hers. She explains this a little better than I have and more in depth, but that's basically it. So, starting with spirit, this was actually quite easy for me to choose. The decks came instantly into mind, and the first one is the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Puman Law and Barbara Moore. And the second one is the Mary L. Tarot um, by Mary Elizabeth. No, not Mary Elizabeth Evans. I'm getting things mixed here. Let's just look. By Mary White. By Mary White. Alright. These two decks feel spirit to me. Actually, you have a good point in there saying that every deck could be a spirit deck because um, they connect us to our higher selves, to our intuition, to spirit, actually. But these two feel quite spiritual. They feel like, at least for me, and in a little bit of a different way. There go some cards, of course, fitting with Chance energy. It really looks chaotic right now because of all the decks and boxes everywhere. So, the Shadowscapes Tarot to me feels like a mixture of air and spirit energy, but mainly spirit. It just feels like it connects you to your intuition, to your higher self, to higher knowledge. Um, because of all the spiritual beings in here, unicorns, fairies, dryads like here. There are also some phoenixes, dragons, all of that stuff. You have people with wings on them. There is a lot of purple in here as well. There's a lot of flowing movement of like the dresses and the hair. A lot of detail in here, so you can really dive deep into the imagery of the cards. You really get some intuitive hints out of these. with all of those details, and you really get a drift in your intuition. You really it really helps you to free yourself from all of that that's going on around you and really drift up into your intuition, into spirit with all of these flowing motions. Like, at least that's what it helps me to do. And this is a perfect deck for reading intuitively because of all the details. Sometimes there's one little detail popping up, and in another reading with the same card, there's another thing jumping out at you. Um, yeah. So, and this is more of the softer, gentler kind of spirit, that dreamy, um, flowy, letting loose of this reality right now and just trust in whatever comes through energy. That doesn't mean that it's not clear or won't address things that need to be addressed, even though they are challenging or might be hurtful, but it's more in that energy. While the Marielle Tarot, on the other side of things, is more of like spirit with fire energy mixed. Um, and this, while the Shadowscapes helps you to move up, out in the universe, the cosmos, to your higher self, this helps you to move downwards into the underworld of things, not in like a hell or demons or anything bad like that, but it really connects you to what's going on inside of you, deep inside of you, maybe even to things that you don't want to take a look at, what's happened in the past lives, karma, ancestors, and that kind of spirit. And it really helps you to transform, and it gives you the messages not in that dreamy, flowy, more gentle sense. It gives you a lot of intuitive hits, a lot of messages that are coming through too because of the artwork, that maybe even having something to do with the traditional tarot card meaning. And it really lights up a fire in yourself to transform yourself, to develop yourself further, to strengthen yourself, to look at the things that need to be transformed. And it's a really powerful deck in that way. So these are the two decks that I have picked for Spirit, and how they connect me both to Spirit energy, but in a different way. Um, Underworld, higher world, dreamy, flowy, letting go of things, being more gentle and calm and relaxed. Well, this is and more the air energy and clarity in that sense. Well, this is more fire, transformation, underworld ancestors, diving deep into shit, and more like of an authority that needs to be addressed right now, more direct, um, and strict also. So these are my two spirit decks. Let's move them to the side for right now. And let's move over to fire. So for the element of fire, I picked the Circle Tarot by, oh my gosh, my eyesight isn't as good as it should be, Marisa de la Peña. And on the other side, I picked the Badass Baby Unicorns Tarot by Kai Cole from Our Daily Magic. So these two feel really fiery to me. Both have that fire energy of like creativeness, You will see that there are a lot of colors in here. They're both colorful decks. They have both this energy of being creative, getting things done, that active energy, that passionate energy, that really confident and unique kind of energy, creative expression, but also that temperament in them. So for the Circle Tarot, it is more about being creative, getting creative ideas, that inspiration, that getting inspired to do things, getting inspired or finding creative solutions to problems, getting inspired to create something new, to give you that confidence that you trust yourself enough that you recognize that you have the ability to do it and then start it, um, to follow your passions, and your heart, like what it wants, to do things not in a usual way, but doing something unusual, something new, to explore things. Um, yeah, all of that stuff. So, and to explore yourself as well, getting to know yourself, expressing yourself in a unique way, which fits your personality, your character, and not being afraid of what others may think as well. So that is what this fire deck is all about. While the Badass Baby Unicorns tarot, especially because of all these um, little words that are on here that the characters are talking, it is really about um, getting shit done. Move your ass off your couch or your sofa, stop being passive or whiny, and get the things done that need to be that need to be done, that need to be worked on. It's really harsh sometimes, even though there are all these cute little unicorns in here. It doesn't shy away to give you the truth without any and the direct truth without any beating around the bush, or talking through flowers and being soft and explaining things. It just says it the way it is. And it has its own character to it. It's really it has a temperament to it. At least that's what I'm getting. And if you're not ready to do the things that you need to be done, or you don't want to hear the things that it says to you that you really need to look at, then it hasn't the interest of working with you. Then it's just saying, well, if you don't want to do the work that needs to be done, and if you're not listening to myself, why the heck should I work with you and wasting my time? So it really has a little bit of temperament in there, and it is a little moody deck sometimes, and it's straight at your face, direct, and giving you that kick in the butt. So these are my two fiery decks at the moment, or that came to mind in that sense, and that really have a different kind of energy in terms of fire energy to them. So for water, I have chosen the Enchanted Tarot by Amy Serna and Monty Faber, which could also, I see, fit for some people into fire because it is a very creative collage deck. It could also fit in the element of earth because these are all from textures created. But for me, it is a very watery deck. And it isn't that I got this deck and thought, oh well, this is definitely water from for me, or this is a deck that I will use for emotional and love readings. But it introduced itself to me as like a water deck when I started to work with it. Um, it really it really gave me messages that had to do with emotions, with the heart space, with things going on in myself, with relationships. And it really didn't stop doing this. So it really just gave me the information about that. And also, when I did my deck interview spread, it was watery as well. So that's why I picked that one. And the other one is probably even more of a surprise for you guys. And I have to warn you that there is nudity and sexuality coming in with this deck. So if you're not comfortable seeing nudity or any kind of sexuality, sexual poses, or if you're under 18, then skip forward or just close this video because this deck has all of it in it. And it is the Slatist Tarot, um, created by, oh my gosh, created by Morgan Claire Cyrene or Cyrene. And I could see where you could use this as a fire deck because of that sexuality and passion aspect. For me, it's more a watery deck, especially when you're working with it. And I work exclusively with this deck with the guidebook, which you can download. And this deck, in combination with its guidebook, even though it is not the thickest guidebook ever or the most detailed guidebook, in combination with the messages that are in there, is a really good tool to get to know yourself, who you are, what is going on inside of you, how you're feeling, get to know your shadow, get to trust yourself and your intuition more and follow that more, get to know your wants and your needs. And it really helps you to come into that self trust, to recognize your self worth, and to recognize or to come into your self love and acceptance of who you are with all your flaws and all your little imperfections. Which is really a surprise because you wouldn't necessarily think about that if you just see these sexual cards with a lot of nudity and sexuality. You just would think this may be a good deck for a sexual reading. Um, but it really is with the combination of the guidebook, it goes really deep into your emotional realm, into what's going on inside of yourself. It has some really deep messages in there that really touch your soul, your heart, your emotional space, and where you can really work on yourself and get to know yourself better. And that was a surprise for me as well because at first this deck wasn't even on my wish list and I didn't even thought a lot of good stuff about it. I actually judged it for having nothing to do with tarot and just being like sex sells kind of stuff. Um, and then after a few months, I watched some reviews of it as well, and there was something about it that then called to me. And then I decided to get it. And my experience with working with this is a very powerful one, a very transformative one, and a really emotional and personal one. I have a really personal connection with this deck, and I haven't expected it at all from something like this. So and the same goes for this deck. I haven't expected it to being a watery deck, to being a deck for relationship readings. love readings, romance readings, or emotional readings, but it really goes deep. It really wants to work with your heart space, with your emotions, with relationship matters. And yeah, so that's what I use it for, and it really works perfectly. And this is more the romantic relationship with another person, emotional kind of stuff deck, while this is more the relationship with yourself and that passionate, wild kind of stuff, watery emotions kind of stuff deck. So that's where they balance each other out. So we have spirit, fire, and water. Let's move on with air. Get the decks out of the way. And for air, where are the decks? There they are. I have on one side the Darkness of Light Tarot by Tony DeMoro, and on the other side, the Mesquite Tarot by Bronwyn Walls. So these two decks feel really airy to me. They are really easy to read. They give you the kind of clarity and focus and direction that you need to move forward, that you need to solve problems. Um, yeah, and give you an idea, and you can learn from them. But they're easy to read, and they're really clear and airy, like more in the mental realm. And these two are balancing each other out because this is my masculine air energy, this is more my feminine air energy. And I know the element of air in itself is more associated with the masculine energy, but for me, each element has still its primary association of like fire and air being more masculine and water and earth being more feminine. That resonates for me as well, but there is also the other side of it. So the Darkness of Light Tarot is really easy to read, and it gives you super clear messages about what you need to know to develop, to solve a problem, to move forward, to get you out of your headspace and of that endless thought spiral that is going on down there, and stop that and give you some focus and how you can move forward and get things done and solve problems. It gives you those solutions, or at least hints to those, and gives you clarity in that sense. While the Mesquite Tarot is also, it is reduced, it is very simple artwork. There's not a lot of detail in there. The humans are mostly silhouettes. Um, but and therefore it is quite easy to read and quite easy to understand what this deck wants you to say, and quite clearly to get the messages, and the messages are quite clear. And yeah, give you that focus point as well and that clarity that you needed. But this is more about clarity within yourself, within what you want, and how you can reach that. Reflecting on things that have happened, on your experiences, on what's going on inside of your mind, and how you can use that, how you can learn from that. So yeah, these are my two air decks. They feel both airy to me, clear, focused solutions, ideas, and all of that stuff. But this is more of like how you can solve problems, how you can move forward, develop, do things. Well, this is more of like what you can learn from the past and what you can reflect on and develop yourself. So there you have it, more of the active air, masculine, more of that inner reflection, and passive air or receptive air, feminine air energy. So these are my two air decks. And last but not least, the earth decks, which the first thing that, or which were quite easy as well for me, the This Might Hurt Tarot by Isabella Rodman, and the Tarot of the Hidden Realms by Barbara Moore and Julia Jeffrey. They feel both quite earthy to me. With the Tarot of Hidden Realms, it is quite obvious. You have it based on fairy energy. Fairies for me are the spirits of earth, are that earth energy, that wildness, that primal energy, that connection to Mother Nature. Yeah, but also that grounded energy and that forest energy as well. And so it is also based, you see a lot of animals, plants, the fairy creatures being out in nature in a forest. Um, so you get a lot of that earthy connecting to nature, to earth, to the living beings. Um, and you get a lot of grounding energy as well, but it also helps you to connect to your inner fae, to your inner wild self, to that primal energy as well, like the Canunos energy. So yeah, this is more about that kind of earth. And the This Might Hurt Tarot is more like working with our everyday life, working with the problems that come up every day, the decisions that we need to make every day, our work, our things that surround ourselves, that things that need to be done regularly, because it is based on our world that we are living in right now. It is quite modern, and quite diverse. So it really gives you that sense of our world where we are living in, and grounding in that and focusing on that moment, on that reality, um, and on those smaller things. That maybe having to do with connecting to spirit and transforming whatever the heck it is that needs to be transformed, and working with your shadows and overcoming and healing your heart, but just focusing on the everyday stuff that also needs to be worked on and addressed and accomplished, and that also needs time and energy, which we often forget about, or play it down like it is not as important, or it is not um, as important as, and not, it's easily overlooked and not recognized that you can be proud of yourself if you get the everyday thing done, and the everyday life managed as well, which is oftentimes played down as um, not as difficult to do. Everybody can do it. It's just necessary work, and it's not work that um, deserves recognition, or You know what I mean? So I love that there are decks that connect you and remind you of that as well, which is quite important because these are the things that take a lot of time, maybe even the most time of our life, and we spend the most time of our life with. So these are my Earth decks and how they balance each other out. So this was it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was interesting to watch. Feel free to leave a comment down below. What are you thinking about my choices? Do you agree with some of them or disagree? Why are you agreeing or disagreeing? What are your experiences with working with any of these these decks that I have shown right here? What are you considering these decks to be in terms of the elements, or what are your choices for each of these elements? I would love to hear your thoughts, to hear your picks. Also, let me know if you have done a VR already. Yeah, and all of that stuff. Feel free to leave all of that in the comments. I love to read your comments, your and be a part of your ideas, your experiences. So that is that. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the other videos and new stuff that is coming up on my channel. And thank you for watching. Thank you if you already have subscribed. I really appreciate you. And until next time, you guys. Bye.